Hey there, welcome to the channel. I'm Ben, and the last time I was out on the DRZ4S here, it rolled over 600 miles. So today I'm gonna give this bike its very first oil change. So if that sounds interesting, stick around and we'll get into it. If the weather's nice, the first thing I like to do is take the bike outside for a quick rinse to knock off any large debris, paying special attention to spots like the oil filler behind the steering neck, the oil filter cover and surrounding areas, as well as the oil drain plug in the frame and the one on the bottom of the engine's case. For tools, I'll be using 14, 12, and 10 millimeter sockets on the Tusk Speed T-handle. Rocky Mountain also sent me one of their Tusk Oil Change Kits, which should include everything else I'll need to get this job done. There are a lot of different options to choose from, but I went with the Suzuki brand mineral oil, and the kit comes with the correct quantity of that rounded up to the next quart, of course, as well as a Tusk oil filter and 2 Tusk crush washers for the drain plugs. They also send replacement O-rings for the filter and cover, which are direct replacements made by Suzuki. And to make sure the oil ends up in the right places, they send a disposable funnel and some extra large Tusk PVC gloves. Now, along with the time savings from not having to find all these parts on your own, it looks like this kit would actually be just a few bucks cheaper than the sum of all its individual components if and only if your order subtotal reaches the free shipping threshold of $75. So I'd highly suggest either ordering a couple kits at a time, or for the biggest savings, you could buy a reusable funnel and bulk quantities of oil, filters, gloves, O-rings, and crush washers. Either way, if you use the affiliate links I've got listed below the video and in the top pinned comment, a portion of those sales will go towards helping me create more content like this, and huge thanks to anybody that's been using those links. Now the bike has had some time to dry off, I'm going to go through and wipe down all those same areas I sprayed off earlier to ensure there's no debris hanging around waiting to get into the engine. Then I'm going to fire the bike up and let it run for about 5 or 6 minutes so the oil will flow out a little easier. And just to be safe, I'm going to remove my key, stick it in my pocket, and not pull it out again until I've got new oil in the bike and everything is buttoned back up towards the end. Next, I'm going to pull the dipstick out and very carefully remove any debris from around the oil filler, ensuring that it all gets wiped away from the opening and none falls inside. It looks like there's also some dirt on the bottom of the dipstick's cap, so I'm going to clean that up too, and then to make sure that nothing falls in while I'm working on the bike, I like to set the dipstick back in just so it sits on the top of the threads. That way air can still sneak in to let the oil flow out easier, but nothing else should be able to fall inside. Then I'm going to grab my 12 millimeter socket and remove the first drain plug from the frame. Unfortunately, I'm not going to get it out of the way fast enough though. Whoops. Next, I tried removing the old crush washer so I could replace it with the new Tusk one that they sent me, but it seems to have been crushed too much and gets stuck on the threads. So I'll just clean it up as best I can and move on to the second 14 millimeter drain plug in the engine's case. This time, I'm going to use my fingers to unthread it so I can pull the plug away a little faster and hopefully avoid another oil shower. This one's actually a magnetic drain plug designed to pull harmful metal particles out of the oil, so I'm going to make sure I clean it up really well so it can be its most effective when I put it back in. This one also doesn't seem to want to let go of its original crush washer, so I'll just clean it up as best I can and move on to the next step, which is carefully cleaning off any debris around the drain holes, ensuring none of it enters the engine or gets stuck in the threads. Next, I'm going to incrementally loosen the 3 10 millimeter fasteners holding the oil filter cap in place. And I'm happy to see that Suzuki used studs here with these capped nuts rather than machine screws and threaded holes. You can still strip them out pretty easily, but if you do, you should be able to simply remove the stud and replace it, or replace the cap nut, rather than having to drill and retap internal threads. There will be a bit of oil in here, so holding some towels or something underneath would have probably been a good idea. I did remember not to let the cap, which is sort of spring-loaded, come flying off here after removing that last fastener though. And upon inspection, it looks like there is a bit of debris underneath the cap, so I'll get that cleaned up. And pull the old O-ring off, cleaning underneath it as well. Then I'll grab the new one, prep it with some oil, and get it installed. As a side note, I always make sure to thoroughly wipe my gloves off between steps like this to avoid getting any debris inside the engine. It also looks like there was some dirt on the engine side underneath the cap, so I'm going to carefully wipe that all away from the oil filter opening. Then I'm going to pull the old filter out, paying close attention to the way it interfaces with the bike. Next, to ensure I get as much of the old oil out as possible, I'm going to carefully lean the bike from side to side, making sure to catch the moving streams of oil as I go. This would definitely be much easier and a lot safer with a second set of hands. But I think this is something that's well worth doing because check how much oil was still hiding in there. To get the inner O-ring off here, I'm going to use my fingernail inside of my glove to sort of pick it away from the engine, which is a little difficult, and then replace it with a new oiled one. Now I'll grab my new filter, which comes with this handy little service sticker. And after inspecting the filter for debris, defects, and damage, I'll figure out which end is which, and of course the closed off end here would block oil flow, so I definitely don't want that end. Whereas the opposite side here has a port for the oil to flow out of after it's cleaned by the media on the outside of the filter. Then I'll carefully get that installed. And it looks like the cap's hole pattern is designed in a way that it can only be installed in the correct orientation with the arrow pointing up. So after making sure the spring, both O-rings, and the filter are all properly installed, I'll reinstall the cover, keeping some pressure on to compress the spring while I install the 3 cap nuts. Then I'm going to do something that'll be sure to cause an uproar in the comment section, incrementally tightening these incredibly delicate fasteners by feel, rather than using a torque wrench. I'm not at all suggesting that anyone else should do it this way or that it's the right way. It's just my own personal preference. Now I'm going to inspect the rear drain plug for any defects or debris and ensure that it has a single crush washer on it, which is still the original and should really get replaced. However, I wasn't able to get it past the threads, so I'm just going to have to hope it doesn't cause a leak. I'll carefully get that threaded in and again tighten it by feel. The frame plug here seems to have a bit of a tooth on one of the threads at the end where it should be chamfered. It doesn't seem to have caused any issues, so I'll reuse it and maybe get a new one for next time. And if I do, I might actually be able to use a new crush washer as well, since this one also is really stuck on there. Let's hope it doesn't leak. And this one's definitely a little tricky to get installed. The Tusk Speed T-handle seems to work pretty well in this application though, and as you may have noticed, I'm making sure to hold it as close to its axis of rotation as possible to reduce my mechanical advantage and increase feel. Again, not professional advice, just my own personal preference. With everything buttoned back up, I'm going to do a quick cleanup, so when I pour the oil back in, I can easily spot any new leaks. With that done, I'm going to remove my protective cap here and get my funnel installed, which does seem to need a little convincing. Now I can open and dump in my first quart. But when it comes to the second quart, I need to be careful, partially because Suzuki claims in the owner's manual that you only need 1.7 US quarts in total for an oil and filter change, but also because they tell us that the frame's oil reservoir may overflow if you add more than 1.5 quarts at a time. So I'm going to very carefully dump in about half the bottle, or roughly 16 fluid ounces. Then I'll install and secure the dipstick before firing the bike up, just long enough for it to make room for the final 0.2 quarts. And now, since my goal is to leave about 3/10 of a quart inside the bottle, or roughly 9.6 fluid ounces, I'm going to pour this next bit extremely slowly and carefully, hopefully without letting this mosquito fly in too. Get out of here. Looks like I may have gone a little bit overboard, but I'll cap this off for now, reinstall the dipstick, threading it into place, and then I'm going to fire the bike up for about 6 minutes as described in the owner's manual. And while we wait, the mosquitoes here and I will check if there's any new leaks. Since everything looks good and the mosquitoes approve, I'll shut the bike down and wait about 3 minutes for things to settle as the manual instructs. With the oil now thermally expanded and sitting in the frame reservoir, I can remove and wipe off the dipstick. And I'm not really sure what the hash marks are about, but I believe what the manual says is that this upper ring is the high mark, the lowest one is the low mark, and we want to shoot for somewhere right in the middle here. Before checking though, the manual tells me to tip the bike upright on a flat level surface, which is a little precarious with only one set of hands. Then Suzuki says to insert the dipstick but not thread it down into place, so I'm just going to sort of set it on top of the threads. And when I pull it back out here, it's a little hard to tell on camera, but it looks like I'm just a little over the middle ring here with my oil level, so I'm going to call that good and get the dipstick installed and secured. So thanks for watching, guys. I would highly recommend not using this video or any other video on the internet really in place of an owner's manual or shop manual, and like all my content, none of it should be used as professional advice and is all used at your own risk. But if you found it helpful and would like to help support more content in the future, just commenting, hitting the like button, or especially sharing the video can be a huge help and is greatly appreciated. However, there are also a lot of other options like the super thanks button. You could purchase this oil change or any other gear you need from Rocky Mountain through one of my affiliate links down below, or even signing up for my channel membership. And I want to say a huge thanks to anyone who's contributed through any of those methods. Take care, stay safe, stay swanky, get out there and enjoy this beautiful world God created any chance you get. And if you can't do that right now, here's some more videos to check out. In the meantime, God bless, and we'll catch you on the next one.